Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking it. It means a lot to you guys. You guys keep looking. I'll keep making. And today we're ranking the power rankings. Bitter couldn't make it, but that's okay because I think we are. I feel like Bitter definitely has his power rankings like locked in. He has people who he likes, and those people stay at the top. I gotta say, mine didn't really change as much. It's just the people that did change on mine flew down or flew up. There was a lot of people I feel like for me that went up on my power rankings after an episode that kind of changed everything. I mean, it changed the course of this season. It was almost as big as that. Well, no, I think it's bigger than the NECA boot, but I think the NECA boot really changed the course of the season because if the NECA boot doesn't happen, I think Vessi's completely in control here. Whereas, and I think right now Baka is. What do you think of like the tribe dynamics? Which tribe is in like the best spot right now?
I mean, theoretically, I think Baka should be the best, but I mean, Janine probably isn't too fond of Sammy and
Oh,
Gabler right
definitely.
now.
Yeah, no.
So I do think that people on the Baka tribe, Sammy and Gabler, do hold,
I don't
pretty
think
good
Janine's
power.
gonna go back with them. I think
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think
she's not.
it's now it's Sammy, Owen, and
Sammy Owen
Gabler.
and
That's it.
Gabler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Period.
exactly.
And then
So
I think Janine is now free agent. She can go wherever. And it's just a
Yeah.
matter of if Sammy, Owen, and Gabler can pull in that Vessi group, or even go with the Cocos, but like get a group with them because now they're not a big enough tribe anymore, especially with Janine now leaving.
Yeah.
For them to just sit there and have like two people flip over with them. Now, Sammy, Gabler, and Owen need a good like 3, 4, 5 people to flip over with them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. What do you think of Gabler in general? I mean, obviously he's gotten so much coverage and attention this week. What are your thoughts on Gabler as a whole?
Okay, well, I mean, as a character, as a TV character, I think he's great. I think he's awesome. We wouldn't have had this great episode. As a player, it's a bit more questionable. Now, you can say what he wanted to happen did happen, so ultimately he was successful. Right. But it seemed like he burnt a couple bridges along the way.
Yeah,
though to be fair, it was the people that he didn't want to be with that he burnt bridges with. So I just feel like people will see him as a goat or whatever.
The game, but that's the thing. The game changes. If you burn a bridge, that's like dumb. You never want to burn a bridge almost ever in Survivor. It's very rare that you want to burn a bridge. It never helps you. Plus, these people are going to be on the jury now. So I mean,
Ellie is not on the jury, right?
I know, but he immediately loses now to Janine's vote. Like, there's no way Janine will ever vote for him at the end, and that's the issue. But yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say my main question is the next person voted out here going to go to the jury or not? Because usually the 7th person voted out still doesn't make the jury. That's how, last season, the 7th person voted out didn't make the jury. 41, the 7th person voted out didn't make the jury. Neither Sydney or who was the girl in 42? It was chubby short girl. I don't remember her name, but they both didn't make the jury. Because I think.
Yeah, but that was like, but it was different because that's the merge. You know what I mean? Like that's the like that was the merge boot. This was the merge boot as well. It just happened around earlier, right? So
it's just, I think, would they have a 9-person jury if they started the jury here?
Yeah, it'd be 12. So that's 9. Yeah, 12 minus the 3 is 9. Yep. I guess for me, like the thing with Gabler is like it's not as much about the what he did, like what he did worked, like what he wanted to do worked, but it's the why and it's the how he did it.
Yeah, the how he did it was a little more questionable.
Right, because like how he did it was not the best way. He kind of stumbled through it. It wasn't foolproof. And then the why, it's like, was that really a good reason to vote her out? Like yes, you got what you wanted, but is what you wanted the right thing? And that's obviously a discussion that we could have for hours. But I feel like this season is looking up. I'm very positive so far on this season. I haven't really seen a blemish aside from maybe like the sob stories in the premiere. Aside from that, there really has not been anything really to complain about. And every episode has been at least solid, which is pretty rare. So I'm hoping it continues like this. Hopefully I was wrong about this season going because I did not see this cast being this cool. All right, let's get into it. So unlike some other Survivor Powering podcasts, we go from worst to best. We go from 12th to 1st. The people who are going to get voted out or who can't win or who don't have good jury chances, all the way up to the people that are winner pick or aren't going home or have great jury chances. My number 12. Let's go check that. My number 12 is Ryan. I mean, people are like high on Ryan just because he got like some content last episode, but he looked like an absolute buffoon. And plus the secret scene, I don't know if you saw that, but it's literally them just all being like literally, it's literally like Ryan just isolating himself on the Merge tribe and not talking to anybody, and them all being like, "What are you doing, Ryan?" I mean, that mixed with what we actually saw in the episode, this guy is like not playing the game at all. He's like, I get it, he's like in the combos, but like, of course you're gonna be in the combos. You're on the island. Like, I'm just not sold at all on Ryan. I think Ryan, like, if there's anyone who I could guarantee isn't gonna win, it has to be Ryan. I think at this point, like, whereas in like someone like Janine or Cassidy or James, people who are kind of being targeted right now, I really don't like. They can all have at least a chance, something, anything. You know, we talked about how Janine could have like a Natalie Anderson edit, you know, where her ally goes home and then like takes on her edit. I'm trying to think. Maybe James could kind of overcome this, and he's also been shown like knowing what's going on and sniffing out the BS. You know, maybe Cassidy, you know, her edit's been giant the past few episodes, but Ryan, I just cannot like envision Ryan winning, especially with like such a horrible game he's playing at this point, socially and strategically. I think physically he's doing fine, but you know, yeah.
Well, here, I'm actually going to make a change in the power rankings because I'll just say it now. I had like Janine at 12 and Ryan at 11. Yeah, but I didn't know about that secret scene, and that's pretty bad. So I'm gonna move Ryan to 12. Ryan's my 12 now.
Yeah, he's it was bad. It was basically like him carrying wood the whole scene, and everyone's just like, "What is this guy doing?" And that's just such a bad look. Like, and I get I get it wasn't in the episode, but it did happen. Like that stuff just it still existed. It still went on. You know, just because we didn't see it, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter anymore. So yeah. Well, I have now the exact same list as you. I have 11, Janine. Yep. I'll actually let you go ahead and talk about it.
I mean, I think Janine has shown basically the entire show that she's not a good player. I think she relied on Ellie way too much. Like basically she was like her minion. Everything that she did, she got her approval from. And now that she isn't here, I think her game's gonna fall apart. I think she's not gonna know what to do. I think that I don't know if anyone's gonna really want to pick her up. Honestly, I know that Vessi probably won't want to pick her up because I think they kind of have a thing on with the Baka 3 right now.
I think the Cocos or will actually.
I think the Cocos are going to try to attempt to do something, but I also think the Cocos are going to fall apart with Ryan. You know, probably leaving them at some point, and then I don't even know what James is really up to. So I just think Janine, like game wise, when it comes to winning and getting voted out, I think she's probably in one of the worst positions in the game right now.
Yeah, it's well. That's the thing. Like, it's like I honestly, I kind of wanted to put Janine higher just because I feel like now there's no way it's Ellie, and then we're gonna put out her ally. Janine, like that never happens nowadays. It's always like several rounds. Usually, it's just a accumulation of just like her losing her social game one episode after another. She has no friends. She has no friends, and finally she goes like 4 episodes later. You know, it's usually not back to back, so it is like a little bit shocking. You know, for her to go out in this episode right after, it really wouldn't make much sense, and it would be pretty boring. Plus, I mean, there was zero talk about her in the next time on it, like not.
So I think you just kind of like have to put her low. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
like somewhere low, but
right. Because like if I'm going based off who has a chance to go home next episode, she's probably like the middle of my list. But because she lost her main ally, she has no friends. And if she did go back with her old tribe, she's the 4th like person in that alliance. It's just bad. Like it's bad for her game strategically, socially, and physically. All right, number 10, I have Cassidy. Cassie's kind of been, you know, someone who's been targeted. She's been a name that's been thrown around. She's being built up in the edit, like as of recently, which is not very good. Like you don't want a short-term rise in edit that usually spells out boot. I don't know. I'm not sold on Cassidy as like a long-term character. I think she's a short-term character, and I can see Cassidy going home this episode, next episode, or the one after that. But I don't see Cassidy getting past round 9, round 8. So 10 is a good spot for Cassidy.
Oh, so far we still have the same list. I have Cassidy 10 as well. I've actually heard some people like saying that's their winner pick. I'm like, I mean, like what? Going into the merge, people saying like, oh yeah, she's done, like she had a good 2 episodes because she's like
on
a terrible person. Like I don't. It's like
she's on a tribe with burgers. Like, of course, you're gonna have two good episodes when you put out.
And she likes talking bad about people behind their backs. Like, and like, of course, they're gonna put it on TV because no one else in her tribe's like interesting at all.
Yeah.
Yep. I think
very similar to like Sydney on that Luvu tribe, where she's the only person who has any sass, and the rest of them are just like robots. God.
Yeah. So I think that like I can honestly see like Carla and James like flipping on her since they already were already contemplating it on the merge, and they can just be like, well, this is an easy vote here. If the other people want to vote out Cassidy, they're like gonna be like, they're not gonna fight for Cassidy if the other tribes want to do it, and they're just gonna they go along with it, So
do you remember that they actually considered voting out Blindside and Cassidy in the pre-merge because she pulled like a Lindsay, that. If you're even considering it at the merge, it's free. It's just free real estate. There's no way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Number 9, Jesse. I have Jesse. I basically have a lot of these Vessi people in the middle. We haven't really got much from them during this post merge, but they seem to have good ties with that Sammy Gabler Owen group, and that's big because those people are going to control this post merge for as long as I can foresee. So I think it's important, but the issue is if we're not seeing them, they obviously can't get that far. You know what I mean? Like if we're not seeing anything from them, I mean, the only one that we really got a big edit from was Noelle, and that's why I have Noelle towards the top of her tribe here. Out of that 4. But for me, my 9 is Jesse, and I'll go ahead and say my 8 is also Dwight. I just like these two are on the same tribe. They got in the same amount of content, which is little to nothing, maybe one confessional. So yeah.
Well, my name, I got a James. So the problem with James is that I think he's actually going to get pretty far, but no one seems threatened by him. No one really even seems to care about him,
True.
So I have 9, but also dude, he got one vote of them. He started freaking out. He started flipping. Yeah, it was funny. It's like, oh, he was like, oh shit. And then he was like put his hands over his head and stuff. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't think James is really going anywhere in the game. I mean, when your plan is literally just to sit and do nothing, it's pretty bad. This guy got casted on Survivor over, some other people, which is pretty questionable. But
I'll have to argue because I have James higher. What I see is his strictly strategical and social gameplay is one of the more impressive ones on the season, and it's because he doesn't do anything stupid. He's like the opposite of Gabler. He sits back and lets other people make mistakes and just sniffs out bullshit. And if you can do that in the new era, because everyone's bullshitting, that's a recipe for success. Is it a recipe for a win? His edit? Probably not, but I think he's in one of the better spots in the game. So we'll argue about that later. And then your 8?
My 8 is Jesse. He's kind of faded away, honestly. He hasn't really had a big edit since the Noelle vote. I think not the Noelle, the what's it called? NECA vote. I think he's kind of fallen off a cliff, honestly. And I do think that he could get semi-far in the game since I don't think any people are really viewing him as a threat right now. But if Noelle and Dwight, decide that, they don't really want to keep Jesse around anymore, I think that's a pretty free vote, honestly. So
I have a question. Just like if you had to put your life on someone going home next, who is it? Because I don't think I'd be confident in really anybody. Because Ryan and Janine aren't really secure at all. Ryan,
even people at the bottom could still make it semi-far, just because I'm not really sure on who goes next. Basically my
it's
Ryan.
Like a wash.
Yeah. Most people in the middle are all very much in the same position. The dudes at the top, they're the top. Ryan and Janine, they're at the bottom.
My top 3 are pretty much all chilling.
Yeah.
Everybody else is in trouble. Any of them could go, and I wouldn't be dumbfounded. Other than Cody, just because he has a big edit. I feel like Cody is someone who just Cody. It can't be Cody.
Sure.
What do you actually? What? Where do you think Cody's spot is that he goes? Do you think it's at 8, or do you think it's more at
I think he's
finale night, or do you think he stays?
I think he's the first boot of finale night, honestly, or he's the boot before finale night, either 6th or 5th place,
7, 6, 5. I got you.
7, 6, 5, somewhere in that.
Yeah, because I can't see him getting to fire and losing. So if he gets to fire, he wins fire. Which means,
but does he win the game though? If he wins fire, I don't know.
It's tough. I mean, I don't see people like Carla voting for him or Janine. I see people like because like yeah, it's Cody. It's like people like Owen and Sammy and Gabler, even like Dwight maybe, but I don't see people, like Carla and even like well no, Jesse would.
I don't see
But
any
like
of the women voting for him,
yeah,
honestly. There's only
Carla,
a couple left,
Cassidy,
but
Janine.
like I don't see
Besides
any.
Noelle, yeah, I agree. Carla, Cassie, and Janine are not voting for Cody, so it's tough. And I think if a woman got to the end of the season, she'd have their 3 votes locked: Carla, Janine, and Cassidy. Noelle, not so much, but definitely those 3.
Noelle seems more like
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
got Jesse 8, got whatever. Who was it 9? James.
James.
The problem with Jesse is like he was playing such a good game like in the beginning, and like it just like nothing's came from now. Like it just all fizzled out like at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, because the thing, I don't think he's gonna get like a Romeo type of thing where he really fizzles out. I think he's just gonna be like a person who, like, we're always like, oh, he's a good player, so maybe you should blindside. Like, it's never gonna be like us seeing him being a good player. He's just gonna be known as a smart guy, a good player, and that might be his demise. Number 7,
True.
I have Noelle. I like her edit a lot. I think she's getting like maybe a top 3 edit right now, like on this season. The issue is obviously it's just her threat level is going to be so high, especially towards the end with her leg and her story. On top of that, I think her strategy and her personality is pretty aggressive as well. So that's also a big threat. So I think her story and her personality, big threats. And during the post-merge, if you have anything coming in that's like making you a huge threat, it's so hard to get through 10 rounds of Survivor. That's so many votes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because I have Noelle at 7 as well.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like Noelle is like one of the more middle of the road when it comes to like I wouldn't be shocked if she got voted out next episode, but like I could also see her making a deep run. But I mean, to be fair, that's how it is for most of these people. Most of these people, like except for like my maybe top 3, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these people got voted out next episode just because of how like crazy the game is right now. But yeah, Noelle.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I mean, even like I can even stretch top 2. Like I think my 3 through 12 could probably go.
Yeah, I can stretch top 2 as well.
And yeah, and I wouldn't be dumbfounded. You know what I mean? Which is crazy, and that's what I kind of like about the season. It's like it's a free for all. There's no one with an unbreakable edit. Like there's no Jonathans or no like Dreas or Highs. Like it's just like there's people who are on top, but really like the only people that are clear are that Baka majority. Just about everybody else is up for grabs. You know what I mean? Like there's no question about it. Yep. Number 6, I have Gabler. I tried to put Gabler as high as I could because he did succeed last vote, and it doesn't seem like it really put a target on his back because people don't really like take him seriously. But that's the issue. Like people don't take him seriously. He can't win if no one like actually takes him seriously. If people are just like, that's just Gabler, and he gets to the end, they're just gonna say, well, you act like a burger the whole time. Like I'm not gonna vote for you over like a James or like a Cody or a Jesse, even like a Cassidy. You know what I mean? Like these people like Dwight would beat him just because he's not taken seriously. Whether that's his fault or not, it's to be said. But I think it's just the case, and that's the most important thing here. And then you're number 6, right?
It's actually my Gabler as well. I mean, I hope he stays around for a while so he can create more chaos in the game. But
yeah. Agreed. I mean, I think he's here for the long term. He's probably going to get to the end and lose like in third place. But
the only way I could see him like going out like relatively soon is like if Sammy's like, okay, Mike's starting to become like a liability. Right. Doing this crazy stuff. That's the only really way I see him.
Well, and that's the thing. Like the only way he goes out is if his own ally blindsides him, and it would be a bad move for Sammy. That's his goat. It's so hard. It's so hard to find a goat nowadays because no girl can be a goat anymore because they're all whatever. And if it's POC, you're pushing it as well as far as being a GOAT because that's what juries in the modern era want. And so I think like it's so hard to find a GOAT nowadays. And if Sammy has one, he should hold on tight and keep it. And so I think that's very important. Number 5, I have Cody. I think Cody for me is in a spot where like his edit's unbreakable. He's not going to go home anytime soon. He's probably getting again, like we said, to 7, 6, 5, maybe even to the end. But I can't see him going home like next episode. That's like unfathomable. And if you're guaranteed to make the next round during the post merge, I feel like you have to be high up on the list because that's hard to do. But his edit's unbreakable, and it's not like it's just his edit. His game is also looking pretty good. People seem to really fall for his charm, which is pretty rare. Like nowadays, people will like call you up, be like, "Oh no, you charm people. You got to go home now." Like, but nobody's calling it out except for, I guess, Carla. And if Carla, doesn't really have much power here, I think I think he'll be okay.
Was Carla the one saying like she didn't trust Cody or something last episode?
Well,
Didn't someone say something like that?
It wasn't last episode, but do you remember when he went over to her island?
Oh, he went over to the island. Yeah.
I don't trust that Hawaiian accent surfer dude. Like he just fooled all of us. Yeah.
Well, Cody did in fact get the better of Carl. But yeah. So number 5, we're finally not having the same pick. I actually have Dwight at 5.
Gotcha.
Only reason is because, and I'll just say it right now, I have Cody number 4. The only reason why is because I basically am almost 100% sure that Cody is not going home next episode. Whereas Dwight, I could see it. I could see it happen. So
right.
I do think he has better chance of winning if he gets to the end, but
Yeah, I was thinking I also have Dwight lower. It's just I have Dwight much lower, right? Whereas I feel like with Cody, it's just the difference in edit. Dwight's got nothing. I mean, he's got stuff, and he's not purpled, but he's not like a green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle. He's like bluish. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then my 4 is James. Like I said earlier, I feel like James is at a spot for me where, although his edit may not be fantastic, it's definitely there. He probably has a top 5 or 6 edit on this season right now, which is impressive considering he's such a boring character. And then on top of that, I think he's playing this really cautious game, and kind of going under the radar, but also not. But it's close enough. And on this season, there's a lot of people who we don't really know or haven't heard of. And one of those people is not James. James, we have heard from. I feel like on this season, we are right now, the story's being told through Sammy and James and Carla and maybe Noelle. That's about it. Cody, that's it. Yeah. Gabler, there you go. 6, and he's one of those 6. So I mean, he's going to be top half, and he just kind of ended up over Cody and Gabler and Noelle just because I think his edits right now, well, obviously, aside from Cody, better than Gabler and Noelle. So we'll see.
I mean,
and then you said your 4, right?
Yeah, I said my 4 was Cody.
Cody, right? Okay, cool. My 3 is Carla. I can't make the jump to put Carla in this top 2 yet, because I haven't really seen anything game-wise. She's in the minority as far as we know that Vessi and Baka want to work together, even if Janine goes over with them and it leaves the Vessi 4 and then Owen, Gabler, and Sammy kind of heading the charge there. That's 7 people versus 5. Even if Owen, the slimy bastard, flips over to Coco, that's still 6-6. And I think in the end, Vessi wins out there with Noelle's steal a vote. And so I feel like they're just on the wrong tribe. Carla and James are just on the wrong tribe. And that's why they're not maybe pushing for 2 or maybe 2 and 3 instead, for me sitting at 3 and 4. What about you?
Yeah, my 3, I agree. It's Carla. I don't think she's done enough to get into that top 2 yet. I think a big reason why she was one of the more, seeing characters on her original tribe is because, there's no one else interesting. I think she was on Vessi or Baka. She definitely probably doesn't get shown as much. But you can only, deal with the, cards you dealt with, and she did that successfully. I feel like out of the women left, she probably has the most win equity.
Best shot to win, yeah. Yep.
Best shot to win.
Noelle's edit's maybe a teeny bit close, but it's still it doesn't beat it. And even if it did, Noelle obviously has the big target on her back right now. So I think Carla's the person right now who's playing the under the radar Marianne and Erica type of winning game, and that's a game that you don't want to mess with. So I have to put some respect on it, although it's just tough to make that jump to put her above. We both have Sammy and Owen in our top 2. It's really hard to put her above the people who are controlling the game right now at this point, as far as we know, because it just makes no sense for Vessi to now flop to Coco. It wouldn't work at all because they don't trust each other. So
yeah, I agree.
I think we're probably gonna have the top 2 in the same order. I'm guessing 1 Sammy, 2 Owen. For me, it's there's no way I can put Owen above Sammy. He has a worse edit. He's played a worse game. Doesn't have as much relationships. But in the end, these two are the people that are left in that alliance whose names aren't Gabler, and that is a big thing because that tribe right now has the bond with Vessi. The bond with Vessi is everything right now. Those are 4 numbers for people who aren't really playing the game that actively, who are just being sheep right now, and that's huge. Like if you can just get 4 votes who are just going to vote with you without arguing, that's a huge deal. And Owen and Sammy have that right now. Sammy's the boss. That's why he's above. And he also has a much better edit and a much better winning shot. But at this point, I could see Owen winning, and that's why I kind of put him in this 2 spot. I think either of these guys can win, and they're in the best spot in the game, and those 2 add up to 1 and 2.
Yep, completely agree. 2 is Owen, 1 is Sammy. Both these dudes can win. If it's not Sammy, it's probably Owen. Thing is, I think if Sammy isn't in the final 3 and Owen is, I don't think Sammy probably votes for him. Gabler probably votes for him, right? I don't know if
I can see like a lot of people. It's like Owen has like that soy boy feel, and the girls may actually vote for a man if that's the case. You know what I mean? Like especially if it's 3 men, which like statistically it probably is going to be. Especially the fact that my bottom 3, two of them are Cassie and Janine. Sure. And so using that logic, the final 9 will have 2 women left, and I think overall you could expect an all male final 3, and if that's the case, he could clean up with the women's votes there, because I feel like the women are going to look for like the most feminine soy boy type, and that is Owen. You know, he's definitely more feminine than Sammy is, or than like possible, you know, like Cody or Dwight.
And that's cool. Really, he hasn't really been like too like bad about it. Exactly. You know, it's probably good gameplay on his part, honestly, that he still at least has some relations like with the women. But
right, I mean, well, I think it's smart because like his heart, obviously, with him being a soy boy, he probably wanted to go with the women there, but he knows it's smarter. Like go with Sammy and Gabler and try and get Sammy out at 5, 6, 4, something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's his way to win the game. It's kind of similar to not like same game, but how Marianne goes with Omar, lets him do all the work, and then just cuts him at 6. It's so easy. And obviously in practice it's not as easy, especially with Sammy kind of having all these bonds, and also Sammy having a chance to win immunities, whereas Omar really didn't. But I think Owen has a chance. Before I wasn't sold because I thought he was being too negative, but now I think he's kind of formed in that spot where I could see that negativity kind of being channeled into more of a relatability. Like, oh, like he hates everyone, and like you should like relate to him because they're all crazy, ha ha. And I think that is at least a chance for a winner's edit. Any final thoughts on how the season is going? Did you expect a season this good?
No. Yeah, and it could still I think it still has a chance, honestly, at this point, for it to fall apart.
Lower than the past 2 seasons chances.
Oh, definitely lower. Like with 41 and 42, you kind of already saw the cracks forming by the time we got to this point, But with this season, like really, nothing too crazy is happening, and honestly, it's fun. It's refreshing to be excited about Survivor every single week. I'm loving this season. And I think even like the Redditors and stuff are happy with how it's going on right now as well, which is pretty insane, honestly.
Everybody's happy, and that's what I'm saying. It's funny, the season where all the men are staying, everyone's happy. I guess except like the Twitter girls, but besides that, and they do like, did they really even count as people? I mean, like, come on. So I feel like everyone's happy,
and it's great because like none of the cast people are like, oh my god, that's 5 women in a row. I can't, like, no one's thinking stupidly like that. Everyone's thinking logically.
Nobody on like
selves,
right? Like even like Carla out there isn't like being too woke, and I can appreciate like. Even the people who are supposed to be woke, like Carla and Cassidy, they're not. Either we're not seeing it, which is on the editors, or they're just not being woke, which is on them. So I really appreciate this cast kind of just keeping it out of the game. It's making the game so much more enjoyable, and all of these people who are like, oh, the wokeness, it doesn't matter. As soon as the season's not woke, they're like, oh my god, it's so good. It's like, what? Like
this could definitely be a top 20 season, or like 15
top
season
10. I mean,
maybe
it could be a top 10. I mean,
definitely.
I think it's at this point almost a lock to be a top 20 season. So we'll see.
Knock on wood.
What's going on there in the Sky Lander Universe or the Survivant
Universe? Survivant Universe, I should probably have an upload on Monday or Tuesday about my thoughts on the last episode on Survivant.
Nice.
On Skylander, I'm actually working on a video. I haven't been able to work on a video in a while because of school. School's been terribly hard. But I'm actually like working on a video right now. So I don't know when it's coming out, but yeah, just know that I'm working on it.
Fantabulous. If you want to watch these podcasts or the live recap shows as soon as they come out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, check the links out in the description. It's free and it really helps us out. Also, subscribing, liking, sharing. It's free and it really helps the channel out. None of this happens like you guys, and that's what I'll talk to you guys in the next one.